Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're doing a top 10. Topic of this top 10, it's going to be yet another tribute to one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Sabu. I made a video talking about him and his importance and him passing away. I kind of wanted to do this as another tribute to him because I can't not tribute him as much as possible and champion him. This is my top 10 Sabu matches. And I'm going to point one up to the sky for you, Sabu. I didn't do this on the rest in peace post, but I wanted to. I just forgot. With that being said, let's jump right in. Number 10, Sabu versus Taz in a Falls Count Anywhere match from Living Dangerously, 1999. Now, a lot of wrestling fans will point to Sabu versus Taz at Barely Legal as being one of the selling points of their first pay-per-view, which it absolutely was. And the feud that led up to that, the 18 months of them not touching each other, which again, all fantastic. However, I think the match itself was not as good as the build-up. And that happened. Where I do think they had a great match was here at Living Dangerously 99. I think there's just a bit of difference. Now, that's not saying that the match wasn't a very good one and Barely Legal. Taz and Sabu didn't have any bad matches. Just for me, I think this is the best of their matches. That's why it ends up on the list here, and I think it's better than the Barely Legal match. Going from that, our number 9. Sabu vs. Cactus Jack from a Desert Death match from the National Wrestling Conference in 1994. You may or may not be familiar with this. This is a lesser known thing. But this was one of those videos that if you were tape trading in the 90s, you got this match. This match happened in a casino, and they brought out into the casino floor. They were doing moves on the poker table. It was wild. It was crazy. It's one of those matches that really put Sabu on the map, especially going up against a guy like Cactus Jack. They have a lot of good matches. They have a lot of good matches in ECW. I think this is the best of their matches. That's why I made my list. I'll go from that, our number 8. Sabu versus Terry Funk from Born to Be Wired in ECW. Now, this match is hard to watch. It is violent. It's a no-rope barbed wire match. They get torn to shreds. Sabu's clothing is basically ripped off of his scarred up body. He gets his bicep torn and had over 100 stitches. Terry Funk is so tied up in the barbed wire that they have to go to the end of the match because they can't get untangled. It is an interesting, violent match. The end, that part that I just mentioned, is what keeps us from being much higher because the violence and the spectacle of it is off the charts. That ending, not so much. But it is something I think that most wrestling fans should see at least once, especially if you're not against that type of ultra violence. Just a fantastic match. Two of the biggest icons in hardcore wrestling going up against each other. That's why it's on our list. Our number 7 from MLW King of Kings 2002, Sabu vs. La Parka. And this is La Parka that everybody knows from WCW. I know there's a whole myriad of La Parka issues. There's a couple different guys that have been him. This was a fun match, and this was kind of one of those dream matches that I didn't really know I wanted to see. I liked La Parka. I like Sabu. It never crossed my mind that La Parka and Sabu could have this fantastic of a match. Now, in fairness, I didn't see La Parka's AAA work for the most part at this point. I have seen it since, and now this makes more sense. This was fun. This was two guys that just threw caution in the wind. Again, Sabu is in the match. He's always going to do that. Just a fun match. If you haven't seen it, I'm almost 100% sure this is on YouTube. MLW has put it on there. Go check it out. And the other one, the Desert Death Match, I think that's on YouTube as well. ECW ones you could probably find on Peacock still. This one I'm pretty sure is on YouTube. Go check it out. I'll go from that, our number 6. Sabu and Rob Van Dam versus Perry Saturn and John Cronus, the Eliminators, from ECW Crossing the Line Again. Now, I could have easily made a top 10 Sabu and Van Dam tag team matches because they were that good of a team. Van Dam was just a little more polished version of Sabu, a little bit prettier package, if that makes sense. It would kind of be like, say for instance, you have a punk band like the Ramones, and then you have another punk band like Green Day. Green Day is just a little bit better packaged, a little bit more cleaned up version of the Ramones. Van Dam is at the Sabu. This is great. The Eliminators are one of those teams that are kind of forgotten in history, but they were a great, great team. Both of these teams really were. I wish more people seen this era of ECW and these teams going up against each other, especially the Eliminators. They're a team that doesn't get the love they deserve, but These two teams had a lot of interesting matches. This is my favorite of. Go from that, our number 5. Sabu versus Rob Van Dam from The Doctor Is In. Sabu and Van Dam had a great feud that year. It was kind of Van Dam's, I wouldn't say introduction to ECW, but his real, make or break moments where he became a star in ECW were his feud against Sabu. This is my favorite of their matches there. I definitely think you should check it out. This is just two friends that are willing to basically murder each other, and it's a really fun match. I'll go from that, our number 4. From NWA Grand Slam 1993, Sabu versus the Lightning Kid. And if you're familiar or you're not, the Lightning Kid is Sean Waltman, aka the 123 Kid, aka X-Pac, aka Six, aka 800 other names. This match was 1 week before the Razor Ramon Kid match on Monday Night Raw, fittingly. Probably two of what he would say are his most important matches. This is kind of the one, and the matches he had with Jerry Lynn before this, that really kind of put him on the map nationally before the match with Razor on Raw. I don't know if this match specifically led to him getting that spot, or if this was a case of him giving that one last really great match before going to WWE, where he'd have great matches again, but you get what I'm saying. Just a really fun match. Again, with the other ones that aren't ECW, I do think this is on. I do think that this is on YouTube, and I think you could probably find it and watch it. Going from that, our number 3. From TNA Bound for Glory 2005, the Monsters Ball match, Sabu versus Jeff Hardy versus Rhino versus Abyss. This was just fun and chaos and craziness, and 4 wrestlers that are willing to do absolutely anything and made a spectacle of a match, and this was just fun. I recently listened to Dutch Mantel talking about this, where he basically said, go out there and make up the rules as you go along. So they did, and it was fun, it was chaotic, it was awesome. I think I know for a fact it's on TNA's streaming service. Might be on YouTube too. A lot of promotions put out Sabu matches last week, so maybe check it out there if you've never watched it. It's really fun. Go from that, our number 2. From the same year and the same company, TNA Turning Point 2005, Sabu versus Abyss in a barbed wire massacre match. Where this differs from the Funk match, and I think the Funk could have been a better match than this, is it didn't get as messy at the end. Abyss and Sabu made magic together, and Abyss doesn't get the credit he deserves. A lot of people consider him a Kane clone, a Mankind clone, a Kane and Mankind mashup, whatever you want to call it. I think Abyss is a fantastic wrestler, and he was, especially when it comes to hardcore wrestling, this style, he was absolutely fantastic. I thought this was another really, really, really fun match, really violent as well. You should definitely check this out. If you want to see Sabu and you want to see Abyss at their best, this is it right here. Now, before I get to my number 1, I do a thing on my top 10s called the best of the rest. Basically, it was stuff that was considered for the list but didn't quite make it. First up, Sabu versus Too Cold Scorpio from CyberSlam 1996. This is another one, like I said with other matches on here, him versus Cactus, him versus Funk, him versus La Parka, all these other guys. It's another somewhat dream match. You had 2 of the preeminent high flyers of their generation going up against each other here, Sabu and Scorpio. Scorpio, again, another guy that doesn't get the love he deserves. That seems to be a common thread here, especially with the main guy, Sabu. He doesn't get the love he deserves, although now I think he's going to get it now that he's passed, and there's been 8 billion tribute videos out there. I put out some myself, this one being another. But I think people are going to go back and give him his flowers. I hope they give guys like Scorpio that too as well. Now, last up on our best of the rest, Sabu and his uncle the Sheik, the original Sheik, versus Terry Funk and Tarzan Goto from FMW, August 22nd, 1993. This isn't the barbed wire rope match where it caught fire and burned the crap out of the Sheik. I didn't want to put that on here. This is just a fun, wild brawl. Goto's one of those guys, when you talk about FMW, you don't really bring him up as much as, let's say, Onita or Hayabusa or the Gladiator or Tanaka. But he was one of those guys, Tarzan Goto. He was right there with everybody, and he was awesome too. Obviously, Terry Funk is Terry Funk. He's a legend. Getting to see the Sheik, even at his advanced age, in his element, and honestly, watching this and watching a Sheik match from the 70s, not that much difference. He didn't lose that much of a step. This is a fun match. That's why I was thought of, but didn't quite make the list. Now, before I get to my number 1, if you think I put a match too high, left one too low, left something off altogether, let me know in the comments. While you're there, smash that like button, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff that all us YouTubers tell you to do. With all that being said, our number one Sabu match from ECW Heatwave 1998, Sabu and Rob Van Dam versus Jinsei Shinsake and Hayabusa. This match was a pure spectacle, and it wasn't as violent as some of the other matches on here, some of the barbed wire matches. This was an aerial assault type match. Jinsei Shinsake you might know better as Hakushi from WWF in his short run there. Hayabusa is basically the Sabu of FMW. While Sabu was trailblazing here in America, Hayabusa was on a similar trajectory in Japan. Rob Van Dam you all know and you pretty sure you all love. This was a fantastic match. I absolutely love this match. When people ask me, being an ECW fan, what's one of the matches that I could show wrestling fans to get them into ECW, this is one of the top ones that I bring up because it's just that good. And I think no matter what type of wrestling fan you are, I think you could watch this and enjoy it. If you're someone that liked the old Crockett Midnights and Rock and Rolls, there's elements of that. If you're someone that likes the GCW CZW style, there's elements of that. If you're someone that likes the WWE style, there is a little bit of that in there. This whole thing was very fun. It's my favorite match of Sabu's career. That's why it's my number. With all that being said, like I said, I wanted to put out another tribute to the man. I'm probably going to do one more. There's an idea I have kicking around in my head. And to give you a little bit of a spoiler, it's something that I've been trying to think how I want to do for years now. And I haven't come up with a concept that makes it work. But if you see another tribute for Sabu, I'm going to let you know, or at least on my channel, I'm going to let you know it's the first of an ongoing series, and I figured out how I want to do it. And it's basically kind of a deep dive series, but I digress. Once again, thank you for your contributions to Pro Wrestling Sabu. You are absolutely one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. On the very short list in the top 10. I loved watching you from the beginning, from the first time I saw you till the very last match against Joey Janela, even though that was a train wreck. I still love seeing you out there. I'm going to miss seeing you in the ring. I'm going to miss seeing your face at conventions. You're one of one, and there's very few people in the world of pro wrestling that could say they're a true one of one. Sabu is a true one of one. One more time, let's point our ones at the sky for the legendary, one of a kind, Sabu.